Set that up. All right, well, welcome everyone to Taxonomy Tuesday. I'm Lila Meter. I'm your host this evening, and we're going to begin tonight with a little bit of a talk and exploration of a tremendous website called Mycoquebec 3.0. It's really, well, it's more than a website, it's a tool. So I will get started with that. So let me start my sharing. Slideshow. That somewhere in the corner. Okay. All right. So welcome again. Tonight we're going to talk about some beginner-friendly ways to use Mycoquebec 3.0. This is a very advanced tool, so there's a lot in it that I'm not going to cover. But we will cover a number of things that I think will be useful to somebody who's either a beginner in mycology or a beginner at using the tool. So as I said, it's this on-site online website or tool. It was created by the Canadian nonprofit Mycoquebec, and this updated release of it that we'll be looking at came out in May of 2024. It has pretty long history, goes back to 2002, where a person started just making a website. They were an amateur photographer, amateur mycologist, and they wanted to keep track of the mushrooms that they were finding. So I think it started with something like 195 photographs or something like that. And this individual partnered with a mycologist friend as he started to build out this website and put names to it. So over time, it started to grow, and the aim of it expanded beyond this individual's, personal finds to let's try to capture all the mushroom species that are found in Quebec. So in the course of doing that, they got tied into the mushroom clubs in both the city of Quebec and Montreal. So they started to collaborate with those folks, and then reached out and started to engage photographers across Quebec to capture the mushrooms that were being found within Quebec. Before we started talking here tonight, there was some chat about maybe some of the species in their database are from members finding them in other parts of the country or the world, and that may indeed be the case. They have done some extensive work in Tricholoma and some other areas, so that's possible. But the gist of it, the motivation of it, was driven by Quebec, as best I've been able to tell by reading the information that's out there. So over time, this kind of continued to grow. Eventually, they started to add descriptions, so it's not just photographs and names, but get descriptions of these species, and to include identification keys. That wasn't enough. They then also wanted to figure out what some of these cryptic species were, and to make sure that they know what they've got. So they started to do a very extensive DNA sequencing activity. And they did over 5,000 collections. So that was pretty intense. That work started about in 2017. Along the way, they created a phone app called La Fange. Some of you may have that app. Right now, they aren't updating it, and I actually went and looked to see if you could get it off of the App Store, and it's not presently available. I suspect at some point they'll get back around to it. There was a lot of work that they wanted to do next on that now that they've got Mycoquebec. So there's more work there. And they also started a pretty extensive blog. So that can be found in Mycoquebec. So what can one do with it? Well, first of all, you've got to know where to find it. So here's the URL to find this database, this tool. But in that, they've got over 3,600 species. And associated with those species are macro photographs. In many, if not most cases, there are micro photographs, so microscopy work. Most of them have descriptions. A lot of them are part of keys, and you can search for all of them. There's lots of different ways to search, including by species name. You can also search by the genus and other ways, but the basic way is go in and look for a species name. You can look up terms in a glossary. There's a huge vocabulary in mycology that you don't really come across in everyday conversations, unless the only people you talk to are also mycologists. So we're always trying to figure out, well, what does that word mean? So they have a very extensive glossary. I think they have 10,000 words or something like that in their glossary. So that's a useful aspect. I mentioned the keys. The keys can help you identify your find. So if you can get into the right key, if you can at least find the right key, and there's quite a few of those, then you can use those to work your way down and hopefully come to a good ID. Sometimes a lot of species are very similar to each other, and they're kind of hard to tell apart. And especially when you haven't seen them or looked at them in a while, and then you find one and you think, well, is that what I think it is, or is it this other thing? This tool has the ability to compare species side by side. So you can get descriptions right up on the screen side by side. You can get photographs of them, and multiple photographs, and you can use that to help educate yourself on what are the similarities, what are the differences, and hopefully internalize and retain that knowledge so the next time that you see it, you're less confused.
Well, I just wanted to add something to this compare species aspect. One of the weaknesses within compare species, in my opinion, which is the same weakness that is found in most field guides, is that most species that are compared as allegedly being similar to one another, at least in appearance, are always are always ones that are placed in the same genus. In my experience, there are often cases in which species from different genera are quite similar to each other in terms of appearance. But if you go as far as like spore print color or a little bit of microscopy, then the difference becomes quite apparent. So I just wanted to point out here that comparison of species is almost always portrayed as within a single genus.
Thanks, Dave. The beauty of this tool is you can pick any two fungi that you're interested in and compare them on the screen side by side. So it doesn't have to be in the same genus. They can be different. And in fact, we can even look at an example of that. And there's, as you mentioned, it's not just on photographs, right? You can read the descriptions, and the descriptions have, as Dave points out, spore print color and dimensions, and whether they're ornamented and that kind of detail. So there's a lot of layers that one can use to compare two different mushrooms, and they certainly don't have to be in the same genus. There's plenty that aren't, that in the field can look the same or look very similar and be hard, if not impossible, to resolve in the field. So good.
I'd
Thank you.
love to see that in action later if you're able.
Okay. Yeah,
Thanks.
we can try that. We'll think up of an example. Okay, so next. So here we are, gone to the site, and this is what it looks like when you follow that URL. And the first thing you're going to notice about this is, oh, wow, it's in French. So not surprising given that this is coming out of Quebec, but don't let that deter you. If you speak French, great. If you know a little French, great. Maybe this will help you to get better, but rest assured, you do not have to struggle with this site in French. If you look up here in the corner where I've highlighted in yellow, depending on your browser, you're going to see this funny little icon. And I blew it up here so you can see it a little bit better. This is the icon in Chrome. This is what it looks like in Firefox, Mozilla. I think this one is in Edge or vice versa. So you want to find that icon and click on it, and it will give you the option to translate the page from French into whatever language that you want via the translation service. In this case, it's Google Translate. So once that became, that secret was unlocked, this site became way more useful to me. You can set it up so that it always translates, or you just translate the page. You know, you can play with that. But that's a key aspect of this, is getting this into a language that you can understand. All right, so here I've gone ahead and translated it. So this is the same page, and this is what it looks like in English, which is a lot more user-friendly. There's a couple of things that I want to point out while we're here, and this is stable. The first is over here on the left. I've got a yellow bar here, and you'll notice all these beautiful photographs right up here. When we go to the site live in a few minutes, that's going to be like a crawler. Those are going to be sliding across the screen, and you can just move your cursor over that and find out the name of what it is that you're looking at. So we'll see a demonstration of that, but make sure I remember to do that when we get to the live site. Over here on the right, I've circled this, not very well, this black bar. They have these little scroll bars because the page doesn't often fit on your screen, so you do need to use these little scroll bars. They're kind of small, and you need to be on the lookout for those. The other thing that I wanted to bring your attention to here is on the right here, there's a place to donate. So if you find yourself using this site with any sort of regularity, you're learning from it, it's helping you, you might want to consider donating to them to support them so that this continues to be available into the future and remains ad-free as well. So the next slide here, I just wanted to show that, yes, you can use this on your phone, on your smartphone. These are some screen captures from the phone. You can also do it on a tablet, depending on what browser you're using. Again, getting it to translate may be a little bit different. So pay attention down below. It might say, it might pop up and just ask you, do you want to translate this page? Or you might, down below, it might say translations available, and then you can click, or you can go and scroll down and find a way to translate it. So so you can use this on your phone or on your tablet as well as on a laptop. All right, we'll get into it in a minute, but just a few quick things just to get people oriented. So I talked about doing some research. Over here on the left is the window pane where you would type in species or a genus or whatever, and it's going to start bringing up what it finds. Right now, there's nothing in there, so it's displaying all 3,674 species that they have available. You'll notice these open panes on the right. You can control what's shown there by closing those down by clicking on this level of the page, this kind of light blue area. You can select other things. The microphones are the microscopic, the photos taken through the microscope. And then there's keys. So that's just quickly research here. Amanita was typed in, closed down those other windows, and now you can see there's a bunch of Amanitas in the window, 71 different species. The glossary. One of the cool things about the glossary is that every day you go to that, they have a bunch of vocabulary words. So even without looking something up, you can go down and spend a minute and learn some new words, learn some new definitions. So it's pretty simple. You can download this glossary, but I think I'm not positive. One time when I looked at doing that, it seemed to be only coming down in French. So maybe it's now available in English. I haven't actually tried that in a while. Okay. Somebody tapping away in the background. Thank you. All right, so identification keys. So as I say over here, there's 341 different keys available as of today. And they're pretty interesting and useful. And what I like about some of them is that they give you kind of the general characteristics of the genus before you actually get into the dichotomous key. So that can be very helpful if you're trying to figure out, what does this genus kind of look like? What are they in general? So that's a useful place to go find that. I've highlighted here in yellow, circled where that little scroll bar is. That little black thing is the scroll bar. So if you want to scroll down through, you can use that if your mouse doesn't have a wheel. And then there's other ways you can search. It doesn't have to be by species. You can search by groups, the taxonomic group or what they call practical groups. So we'll see examples of this when we get into it. Species comparator. Here is the start of that, where you're looking, maybe you're interested in comparing a couple of species that happen to both be polypores. Basically, all you do is you get what you're interested in searching for over here on the left, and then you pick a number 1, 2, or 3, or 4, and you can compare up to four different species. So in this example here, just for illustration, 3 Calvaceae species being compared together. You can see the names of them are up here. Species 1 is Craniformis, 2 is Cyathiformis, and then 3rd is Gigantea. And that's how everything is represented in this case, macro photos and the description, 1, 2, and 3. So you know which one is which. So that's pretty handy. Let's go play and learn. All right. All right, so here we are in this. Let's see, let me just hit welcome here again. I'll translate it to English. The scroller is scrolling up here, so it's a good way to practice if you think you know what something this is. Oh, this looks like Amanita sussex, or oh, it's Jacksonii, right? Different things, so that's kind of fun. On your phone or tablet, it might work a little bit differently.
Hey, Lila, we're still seeing the, or at least I'm still seeing the slideshow.
Okay, maybe I have to share something else. Let me do that. Yeah, different window. Thanks for chiming in. All right. Everybody see it now?
Oh, yeah.
Good, good. Okay. All right, so I've already got the site translated into English. That was via that little icon up here in the right. You can see this crawler going by, scrolling by. If I move my mouse over it, it'll give me the name. So this looks like a Hericium here. Yes, Hericium americanum. So that's kind of fun as a quick and easy way to just quiz yourself on can you recognize these things fairly quickly. And just nice to have some pictures going by. So that's kind of handy. Over here on the left side are some ways to get into some of the functions of the site, the species that are listed. Maybe you just want to go straight into looking at photographs. You can view all species photographs. This will probably take a minute to pull up. There you go. If all you want to do is just go down looking at photos, you can spend hours and hours doing that. Same thing with the microscope photos as well. So, all right, let me see how I want to go through this. Up on the top here are a bunch of different capabilities that are listed. All right, we'll get to the quiz here eventually. Here's the Mycoquebec blog. Here you can find that historical information that I went over. Get some help down here. Most of the things that we'll talk about are here under tools tonight and under research. So this is, I find, a good way to get into doing the research. And I can decide, well, I don't need all this other stuff, or I want that stuff right now. Maybe I'll bring in the descriptions and the photos, bring those back. And you can start looking for whatever you want to look for. So maybe, I don't know, Pleurotus. I don't even have to type the whole name either. I can start to just type in a few characters, and you'll start to see any place Pleurotus is in there. It should come up. And you'll see sometimes it's down in an older name, PLEU down here. So it's looking anywhere it can to try to find what you're typing in. So here I've typed in the genus Pleurotus, and it says there's 15 different species there. So we can scroll down and see what those are. And then we'll get down here and we'll see, oh, there's old names and synonyms. So there's some things that used to be called Pleurotus, but are now called something else. This Hohen buhelia is an example. The elm oyster mushroom used to be Pleurotus ulnarius, is now Hypsigus, and so on. So that's one thing there, but let's look at some pictures. Let's look at Ostreatus. if you click on a particular species, so I didn't even have to type that in up here. Once I have the display, I can go down and see, oh yeah, this is the one I want to look at. I highlight it. You'll notice up here in this light gray, light blue area, it now shows Pleurotus striatus, who authored that species or revised the authorship of that species. Common name is often given. There's some other information over here that's of more use to advanced users. But you also see the taxonomy here. So you can see that this species is in the genus Pleurotus and Pleurotoaceae, et cetera, working all the way back up to be in the Mycota. Here we can see there's 36 photos, macro photos of this particular example. We can scroll down through them this way. We can look at them in more of a matrix array. So if you wanted to go through quickly and look at them, you can also open them up and using the arrow keys, work your way through the photos. I think there's a way to get them in HD. If you click that, if the photo is available in a higher resolution, it'll bring it up. You can zoom in and look at features. I'm going to turn that off because it'll just be faster, I think, if we don't use it. But that's a feature over here in the upper left corner where you see this little HD icon. So, 36 of these, you can work your way through. Start to get that mental image of what does Ostriatus look like in all of its different H's. Some photos are going to be better than others. I'm done looking at that. Maybe you want to look at the photos taken through a microscope. A lot of these slides are very interesting. You'll see a lot of composite photographs, so more than one picture embedded into one, and it's really nice, so you don't have to keep moving around. You can see a lot of things at one time. And same thing, you can step your way through and see the different slides. You're tired of looking at that, you can X your way out of that. Over here on the right in this panel is the description of this particular species, Ostriatus, and you'll see some funny words like hat. Most of the time, the French will translate to hat. Occasionally, it might say cap, but that's what we know as a cap, is the hat here. The blades are what we know as gills. So the translation does a little bit of a funny job. The foot is the base of the stipe. Smell and taste. Sporia, spore color. Details about the basidia. Details about the spores. This has chylocystidia. All sorts of information down here. Growth mode, it often grows in nested clusters. The ecology, where to find it, when to find it. Is it common? Is it edible? Maybe some other remarks about it. Appears at least twice a season, in May and then later. So it's a cold weather species. It's the most common one in Eastern North America, according to them. So all kinds of information, and they even include references. So that's an example of one search. Any questions on that? I can type in applanatum, right? That's, oops, sometimes you have to reset this. Let's see. Go back and do it again. Try it now. So there's one Ganoderma applanatum. I think if I just put in a few letters, you can see that it found Crepidotus applanatus and Ganoderma applanatum. So that's one thing that you might do if you think you've got something, type in some characters, you're not sure how you spell it, you can play around with that. But let's look at applanatum just for grins here. Just quite a wealth of photos, all different kinds of photos. Here it shows the growth over a period of time, growth layers. So tremendous amount of information that one can learn here. I like seeing some of these ancient or older names too, to see what things used to be called. And I am finding that a lot of the things that I learned originally are now the old names, and they have new names. So what's good about this is if you type it in, it'll search both the current names and the synonyms. So that's helpful to find things. I'm gonna do one more on that Calvacia. See if it'll work or if I have to reset. No. Okay. The reason I brought this up is I wanted to point out over here is this little icon in the middle here, this funny thing that looks like a table. That's a comparison table that's already been built. Should bring it up. Didn't want to bring it up. All right, let me do it over here using clicking up here. Put that away. So here you can see that somebody's already created a table. The bad news about it is that it's in French. But if you've got a smartphone and you've got Google Translate or something comparable on it, you could take a picture of this and get it translated. But we can probably figure out some of it. The glebe, we know as the gleba, the interior of it. This looks like it's yellow olive in craniformis, and you can see that this one is purple over here. So with time you'll get you'll learn to be able to decode some of the French, but sometimes that may be helpful to look at the table. All right, let's try something else. Let's see. I think there's a way to search photos. Yeah, photographic. So if you just want to see photos of something, what the heck do Lactarius look like? And type that in, and it will bring you up photos of Lactarius in this kind of format, and you can use that to test yourself or to find something and maybe match it up with a collection that you've made. So that's kind of handy as well. All right. Glossary, let's take a look at that. down here where it says search for a word, we'll just type something in. I don't know, pursuit. If I can spell it. Here we go, Hirsut. Of or relating to the word hirsute. Well, that's not too helpful. What does that mean? Well, down here it shows hirsute is bristling with long, thick, erect, coarse hair, so on and so forth. So you'll see that it brings up a couple of different things that have hirsute in it. So that might be useful, you know, a lot of words that we can look up here. Oftentimes you see a definition or even in the description, a word that's in bold. You can usually click on that and it will bring up the glossary entry for that word right then and there on the spot. So you can be anywhere in this tool and click and have that information come up as well, which is really helpful. So you don't have to run off to the glossary if you're reading a description and come across a word that you don't know. So that's pretty helpful.
Yeah, Lila, I was just going to mention that. Maybe you want to show that real quick if you want to go back to any
Sure.
of the Pludius or something like Pleurotus or something like that, whatever. But in the description, it's right there.
All right, let's press. Amanita is easy to spell. All right. Yeah, so appendiculated. What the heck does that mean? Here we go. Just click on it over here in the description and it comes up. Set of the margin of hats. Again, that's the cap. So the margin of the cap having the remains of a veil attached and hanging. So there's an example of putting that to work. Warts. Warts are different from scales. So very easy to find those words. All right. So we could play all day here looking words up. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to do the species comparator. All right. And I want to do two different things. Let's try Grifola frondosa. And people often get that confused with Merlepilus or Maripilus. What is that? Yeah, Maripilus. Yeah, with this one. So let's say 2 on that. Right. Get rid of that. You'll see I've got species 1 is Grifola frondosa. Species 2 is Maripilus stimini. And you can read the descriptions and see how they may differ. And they do differ. If you read down through this, you will see that. Well, maybe you want to see the pictures too. Well, let's bring up the pictures. And now side by side, over here on the left, you can see what these two different species look like. But you can also imagine how somebody new to this might be able to confuse them, because oftentimes they do look pretty similar. So I think that's really a great function, this species comparator. And you just type in the names of the 2 species that you want and select one of them as species 1. The next one you put in species 2. If you've got 3 and 4, go ahead and type those in. Starts to get a little busy on the screen, but it works. And of course, you're not limited to the macro photos. You can look at micro photos if any exist. And you'll notice in this case, they don't have any micro photos for some stimini. That's empty, so nobody's submitted any there. But if you want to look at this, what is there, any of this, just click on it and it'll bring it up, any of these photos, so you can zoom in on the photos.
That's
right.
really awesome.
Isn't it?
Yes. This is so amazing.
All right, so let's see. We talked about searching, a lot of different ways to search. Let me go back. The keys. Let's look at the keys. So here's the list of all the keys. Again, this little scroller over here. We can go down and just pick something. I don't know, geoglossum, and see what they've got for a key here. All right. Oh, this is a good one because it has characteristics of the genus. So quite a lot of information on it. They say they've got at least 4 species of geoglossum here, and this Trichoglossum lookalike genus has no surface bristles and has a hairless foot. So that's how you tell it from a Trichoglossum. And then the dichotomous key that you can follow down here, and you don't even have to click on anything. You just hover your cursor over it and it'll bring up a picture if they have a picture of the species. You'll notice that there are things in here that they don't have pictures of. So that's also helpful. You can go off to another site then if you think what you found is something that they don't have a photo of and you want to check it. Take that name and go search for it in another reference. If there's anything at the bottom, no, it just goes down and ends at the bottom. So that's an example of a key. Some of them you'll see they've got a key here for Pluteus in North America, and then they have other things that are for Quebec. A lot of what we find in New Jersey, in the area around New Jersey, is found in Canada, in Quebec. Not everything is. Some of the things that they find up there, we may not find down here. So this isn't a perfect one-for-one coverage for the mushrooms that we find, but it covers a heck of a lot of them. They've got over 3,500 species or 3,400 species. They've got a lot of species. There's a lot of mushrooms that are in overlap. So it's pretty darn useful to us. Right. What else did I talk about that people want to see before we get into the quiz? Anything else? Ready to see the quizzes? Let me just reset this and go to the quiz. All right, you'll see that they have different levels of quiz: beginner, intermediate, advanced, and then there's high scores. So different levels of quiz. If you want to post your score, you can be anonymous, or you can put in your name. And it looks like they display the 10 most recent highest. Oh no, there's more. There is a scroller here too. So you can go back and see, maybe track yourself and see over time if you get better. You'll notice there's different levels of beginner. I think there's 6 levels. Not quite sure what this revision 1 to 6 is, but it's also a beginner level. Then there's an intermediate and an advanced level. And even people like Renee LeBoeuf don't necessarily always get it 100%. So, and she's got a huge number of photos and species in here. So, you see a lot of 100%, but don't let that scare you off. There's plenty of people that do this. It just happens to be, are they ones you know or not? And in fact, if they aren't ones you know, it's often better, because then you'll start to learn something new. So let's dive in and see how to use the quiz, which I think is a great thing to do, especially here in the winter when we're not finding a lot. You can go find some in a quiz. So if you want to have your result posted, then up here you either enter your name, or you can just leave it as anonymous. The translation on this isn't exactly perfect, but anonymity, we know what that means. So select the level, beginner 1 through 6. We'll just stick with beginner here. You can take an official test and have your score posted. So that's 25 questions, or you can just do your own practice round. And what's nice about this is you can do anywhere between 5 and 50 questions. So depending on how much time you've got, you can decide what you want to do. And then I really like this, limit it to a taxonomic group or not. So let's do one where we won't limit it, and we'll come back and try one where we've picked a genus, say. All right, so here we are. They have 2 different styles of questions, and in one, they put up typically 4 photographs. I have seen 3, but typically it's 4 photographs of the same mushroom, and then you have a multiple choice option over here on the right to pick out what you think that is. And you'll notice in the corner here are these arrows, so you can expand this up to see the photograph more full screen. So here it is. And again, you can walk through these photos using the arrows. And it often pays to do that, because you'll see, you may see something in one particular photo that shows up better. It might be a feature that helps you to identify it that isn't as visible in some of the others. So it really is helpful to look at all these photos. All right, so what do we think this is? Maybe it's a Cortinarius. All right, I have the sounds turned on. There's a way to turn the sounds off, I believe. So it makes a happy sound like that if you get it right, and a bad sound. I'm sure we'll get one wrong here in a minute. So this is the other style of question where, okay, find the Amanita. So they give you the species, the Amanita muscaria variation gassawii. So find that mushroom in this array of four photos over there. So again, you can make them bigger so you can see what they are. Check out the photos. Okay, I've seen it. Amanita, I recognize this to be it. I think it's this. Yes. All right, good. And then you go on to the next one. Same style of question. All right, that looks like a polypore over here. None of these look like polypores. I'm going to go with this one. All right. Ooh, albatrellus. For grins, we'll pick this one. I know it's not going to be right, but you get the buzzer sound. So I think it's really this one. All right. And then we get down to, this is the last question. I've gotten 60% right so far. 5th question. Again, look at it. What do you notice about it? That one I see teeth. So that's, oh, yep. So, all right, that's helpful. Consider what's over here. Hiddenums have teeth. Select that. And then you get down to this part here and it tells you what you got right and what you got wrong. And if you want to go and learn more about what I got wrong, well, just click it. And it's going to bring you into the so-called research page where you can see the information about Albatrellus ovinus or whatever one it was that you got wrong. So all the photos, wow, there's 24 photos of that. There don't happen to be any microscope photos, but there's the description. So, okay, maybe you study that and maybe you've learned that. So you can go back and take the quiz again. It'll give you a different quiz. 5 questions. We could pick a taxonomic group if we wanted to. Shall we pick one?
Let's up the level to
You
something
wanna-
more
Oh,
difficult.
you want to go up to a harder level? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. You want to jump up to
Yeah, let's do 6.
6 and see what happens? Okay. All right, we'll just we'll leave it then as just random 5. Okay, so here's a case where there's only 3 photos, so that's kind of rare. All right. I think this is an agaricus. All right, and now Coltricia. This is one of my favorite mushrooms, actually. We can look at the photos of all of them, and you start to see, oh, well, that one's got a purple interior there. That's kind of interesting. Pull my here. All right.
Did you skip the previous question?
No, I answered it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yep, yep, I got the happy sound.
I didn't hear it. Okay, never mind.
Okay. All right, so anybody want to offer a guess on what this one is? Should we look at it closer? We can do that.
It's a Quilenopsis.
Yep. Some of these photos are just spectacular.
If you know the genus, then you get the answer because they're all different, right? So you know it's
Yeah.
not a quart, and you know
Yeah.
it's not a hemifoliota, so
Yep.
or an ossipy.
Yep. I've never heard of this genus before, but sometimes the common name can help you. All right, let's look at this.
That's a chlorophyllum, so that's not the one.
This is that encrusting thing. I don't
That's for
think.
Brandon, not for me.
Yeah.
That's Hygrophorus. And I think that's Dentallama.
Looks like that might be
Looks
it.
like more like Lepista or something. Yeah.
All right, well, let's try that. So this is this one, right? We think is the yep. So you can just keep going through. All right, so now we saw this photo. I think this was the photo that we saw before, maybe this one, but now you'll see they've got other photos of that, and it's that one. So got 100 on that one. Well, we'll go back and let's try one with we can pick something 3, and then let's limit it to a taxonomic group. Since
Let's do a 6.
You want to do a 6?
Yeah.
All right, let's
Something
do
like-
Amanitas then. See how we do on that.
Okay.
All right, for fun. We'll just do 5. I think I can just type in here. Let me see if I can do that. Yeah.
Well, they only have 62. That's a relief.
Only 62, yeah. All right, so here we go.
Brunescence. Can we zoom in? Uh-huh. Yeah, go next one. All right, let's see what our options are. So this is something in section Vaginata. Hmm. Well, it's not Mauritii, and it's not Muriliana unless it was a string, and it's not Avangada. So I'm not sure what Friabulos is. Hold on a second. Don't click on that one yet.
Okay.
So I thought it was actually something that they would call Amanita varicolor, but maybe not. So this is
Now we'll
so,
just find out. There's no harm in being wrong. All right, and you were right.
you know.
So,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, you see some features down
Yeah,
here.
we know. I know what this is, but feel free to comment or ask.
Yeah, look at all this.
Yeah, appendiculate
Appendiculate.
cap margin.
Yeah.
So in this case, actually, not this case, but appendiculation means it's a part of the partial veil, not universal veil. So when the ring detaches from the cap margins, you're left with these raggedy, pieces of tissue hanging off. So appendiculate refers to the remnants of the partial veil, not the universal veil.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody wants to guess what this amanita is?
Confundance?
Nope. Wrong answer.
No.
Dave knows this mushroom.
I think maybe Atkinsonii.
Correct.
Yeah.
Dave is probably asleep.
Okay. Well, I think he was leaving at 8 to go to the
Oh, okay.
other talk. We're after 8.
That's right. We have the philosophy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's a destroying angel. You can
Beautiful.
see the naked cap, no striations, partial veil, and a limbate, saccate vulva type of deal going on. And yeah, here you go. Here you see pretty well the cross section. See the bulb, so it's not totally elongating. So you do have a bulb, and then you have the limbs of the universal veil, the tall limbate vulva. So there's only one answer in that list of mushrooms that is going to be that specific, and this is Amanita ameriverosa.
Good job. All right, let's hear somebody else take a guess at this one.
Amanita brunescens.
All right. There it is.
As I call it, Bruno the Cleft-foot.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, Bruno the Cleft-foot. Yeah, brunescence. Yeah, so we
Yeah,
got
this
it
one
right.
down here. So two different, the pallid one and then the darker one. We had both of those
That's right.
luminescence in that example.
So there's an Amanita called Estivalis, and that represents perhaps the white form of brunescence, or it could be a separate species, as Singer thought it was. So that's a more tricky one. That's probably for the advanced type of deal. So you wouldn't see it here.
Okay. Just for grins, we'll take the advanced one. Just not limited to a taxonomic group. So we'll just see.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's try one.
Let's zoom in into the pictures.
Yeah, we got to look at this closer.
Yeah, okay. Uh-huh.
Wow, look at those gills.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Serrated edge.
Yeah. Okay.
One of the lentinellises for sure.
Yep. So flabellate, or I don't know what the common names are, and I'm terrible at Ontanellus, but Not my department.
Yeah, I don't know it either. Let's try. No, okay, flabelliformis.
Yeah, it's the flabellate. I think it's that term.
Mhm.
What's flabellum? Okay, so this is where are you, Maricel?
All right, you'll notice, yeah, fewer photos here, so they don't have a lot of some of this more tricky things to identify. Less common, less often seen probably, so less observations to draw from, less photographs.
That's Brandon's department, I think.
Yeah, Brandon might know what this is.
It's one of the Stickerinums, obviously.
Yeah.
Fringed. So we do have a fringe. Let's go with
This
the
and a,
fringe. Yeah.
oh, no.
Oh no, we got misled.
Let's see if it's this one. Yep. All
Collapsed
right.
report.
Well, okay.
Oh,
All
boy.
right. This is some beautiful ones here.
Yeah, this one is easier for a change.
Yeah.
Much easier.
All right. Anybody want to take a guess at what this is?
Lactarius indigo.
I'll second that. All right. Now we've got to find Xeromphalina canopes.
It's a new piece.
Canopes.
Thin-footed Xeromphalina. Okay. Okay.
That's got a pretty thin stipe though.
Yeah. So we have three Xeromphallinas apparently in these
Yeah.
pictures. So probably is the one that's that looks yellow, is that a Xeromphalina? Actually,
I'm not positive that it
I
is.
think they're trying to trick you into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this certainly is. This one probably is. I'm not as positive of this one.
Let's go over these again, the photos.
It's going to be everybody's pastime is taking quizzes. That's got some cross veining. That's nice to see in there.
Yeah, but this one is not
Mhm.
Xeromphalina.
Yeah.
So what is this thing? I don't think this is Xeromphalina. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Looks like something else. So the stipe is wiry.
Mm. Mm. Brandon, are you still there? Or did you leave? I can't see. I can't see.
Well, he's there, and his mic is open, but he's not responding. I know you must have
Okay.
gone to the lecture or something.
Okay. All right. Well, we don't know, so we'll just take a guess. This one we know is a Xeromphalina, so let's try it. Yeah. Okay. It's not it. What do you think?
The one on the right.
Okay.
No.
Yep.
Okay.
So they
Right.
didn't try to trick us. The yellow one was the one. So
Yeah, this is the one that had the real thin foot when I looked there, the thin stipe anyway.
yeah, except that looked funny for.
Oh dear.
Look at that. Turns out it's this one up here. Wow.
Well, I wouldn't call it having a thin stipe.
Thin foot. No. So we were misled by the common name. Yeah, I had
Yeah,
never
and
what
none of those really look like the one I see most often. The one the species name starts with a C. It's like
Campanella.
yeah,
Yeah.
Campanella. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kaufmannii and Campanella or whatever they are.
Yeah.
One growing on a hardwood, one on a conifer.
Wow. I don't know any of these.
Let's
Maybe this
see.
one,
It's
maybe.
not Hergophoropsis, so we can exclude that one.
Leuco, that would be like
So
white.
they're all leucogyrofauna.
Yeah.
Leuco means white, gyro means round, and fauna, who knows Latin.
Yeah.
So let's go through the pictures.
Those aren't round pores. That might be a clue. They're kind of mazy. Look at that.
Pretty.
It's the same species, huh?
Yeah, these are all the same. Sometimes yellow, sometimes orange. White and feathery at the edges. That one's
Yeah,
pretty pale all over.
get that fuzz on the periphery. Yeah, that's probably just old or weathered. And this is too young, maybe. Still yellow. And that's just mature and prime condition.
Yeah, I don't know.
Soft. Catricia Pavarenta, that's not Catricia. Catricia Ramos, Catricia, they're all Catricia. So Catricia is the former. Catricia is the former genus.
I don't know. Let's guess. Let's guess this one.
Probably be wrong. Yeah.
Yep.
Pulverulent means like shaggy with with like powdery. Pulverulent is powdery. So is this powdery to you? Let's click on Ramos and see if we get that right.
Yeah,
Yeah, there we go. At least we got 20%.
we got one right. The indigo, the easiest one in the bunch.
Yeah, that was just too easy. Yeah, it's a new piece. That's see, yeah, it's has probably had a different genus before. It was the
Calibia.
Calibia new piece. Okay, yeah. What's the funny thing that the at least two of the other ones were, I think, uh, Xeromphalinus.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was just a bad picture because you see here, you could say that, yeah, it's a Xeromphalina, whereas that other picture was like an outlier. It looked more like what's the name of that mushroom? Oh boy.
Yeah, although that cross veining that you can see up in there is
I mean,
I think that's common in these.
well, cross veining can be seen in a variety of gilt mushrooms.
Yes, but I think it's always in these Xerophilinas. I may be wrong.
Yeah, I don't see these things very often. So
Yeah, I do remember when Dave showed some of the underside pics. I think you did too, Lila. Some really beautiful undersides of those, and you could. I mean, they were really kind of striking with the short gills and cross gills, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I think this is the one that I see a lot of.
yeah, I don't even know like half of these species or most of them anyway, and
yeah. That's like how I see them mostly
Mania,
beautiful.
yeah, I think as a genus it's readily recognized, but when you try to ID these two species, it's this is the place to come for that. This is this is the tool to learn Xeromphalina, and the question is how many of these species are actually distributed in your neck of the woods as opposed to Quebec. So
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just some really nice photos though. Yeah, there you can see a cross veining in there. Yeah. So endless endless opportunity to learn really here, and just frankly to be entertained. So I hope that was helpful to people. I'll stop sharing and I'll put the link in the chat for people. And we can get on with some other things.
Thank you very much, Lila. That was nice.
Yeah, you're
That was
welcome.
really helpful.
Good. All right.
So a lot
So
of people are interested in psychedelics.
they're talking about Mycenas tonight. I
I
think
thought it was a lecture about something else.
not tonight.
Not tonight. Okay. Is that the NYMS lecture or a different lecture?
This is a NAMA lecture tonight.
Oh, NAMA lecture. Okay. Yeah.
It
Okay,
should
doke.
be available later, right? I'm thinking
Yes, yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll be recorded.
the parasol one, that's already up. So I watched that after the fact. So they're putting them up pretty quick too, which is nice.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I don't know about you, how you feel about Mycena. I just steer clear of that genus. It's just
It's difficult.
it's just, I mean, of course Cinereus is difficult just because you have so many different species, but they kind of, maybe unique. You can sort of see that this is different from that, except that you know what the names are. All these Mycenas look the same to me for the most part. And they're probably also very variable, with the exception of Mycena hematopus and the one that bleeds, that reddish.
Yeah, that's a fun one. All right, so
That's pretty easy.
And Epipterygia, Mycena inclinata, I think you can probably get those. But beyond that, it's just like, why even bother?
Yeah, I'm hoping the talk will help sort it out a little bit, but I'm not missing Taxonomy Tuesday for it.
Yeah, well,
so how about Ken and Penny? Did that walk through the tool help you?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, I needed that kind of hand-holding to get started with it, and I think I'll feel much more confident now that you've walked us through it.
Good. Good. Yeah, it's one of those things you just sit down and start playing with it, and you'll keep discovering capability. But I'm so glad now I can find a way to get the dang thing translated, because I just basically avoided it, or I really had to be arm twisted to try to look stuff up and use it when it was stuck in French. So
Yeah, I mean, I got a phone call at the beginning, so I wasn't able to see that part, but I'll go look at the recording
okay, yeah, we'll
so
get
that I
that.
can see that.
Super. Okay. All right. Well, we do have a couple of mushrooms here to look at. I did get an email from Hunter. So unless somebody wants to talk about the Mycoquebec site some more, we'll start looking at some mushrooms of our own, so to speak. All right. Let me share again. Okay. All right, Hunter.
Okay. So I am in Mississippi today, and I found these there today. So I've had no time to really figure out what they are, but this is an amanita. There's a couple more picks.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, it kind of has a rolled sock appearance on the annulus, actually, not so much the vulva. I mean, I think it's an amanita. I don't know. I'm glad. Oh, so that's it.
It's something else. Okay.
Yeah. The and maybe it's I don't know, maybe it could be one of these Lepioras, but I don't think so.
No, this is probably a Manita lavendula group.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, this is the one of several in a cluster of species from section Validae. So that's the one that turns lavender when it's cold, and I think that's what you're seeing here.
Ah,
This kind of purplish sort of undertones
Yeah.
here.
So there's Amanita americitrina, there's lavendula, and there's a few other ones whose names I already forget because I was never sort of interested in them anyway. I just call them lavendula group. Yeah, so in Europe they have Mappa, and citrina is the wrong name because it's illegitimate. So this is what people used to call Amanita citrina, except that it's not. I mean, it's not the correct name or proper name or legitimate name. So that's my guess. That's what it is. You can see the bulb structure kind of resembles
Huge.
the bulb of a destroying angel, maybe in some ways. Maybe there's a margin there, kind of resembling a short limb, but it's a squishy, large bulb. The ring is yellow and situated in the middle of the stipe, and grows, late in the season. Yeah, I'm not sure when you found this one, Hunter, but
Now she says, right?
What's that?
Mississippi.
Now?
Yes, today in Mississippi,
That's
southern.
that's Mississippi.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's section Validae.
Section valid, yeah. So non-straight, cap margin, always a bulb, even though sometimes it could be very small. In this case, it's like hypertrophic, citrina, or I should say, lavendula has large bulbs. That whole section or group of species has a
It
very
was
large,
squishy, as you
impressive bulb, and a permanent ring. Okay, so these are the morphological features of section Validae: non-straight, cap margin, permanent ring, and at least some kind of a bulb. And the vulva is usually very friable. It sort of washes away and falls away from the cap, and at the bottom of the stipe you don't see the kind of rings that you see, say, in Amanita gussowii, Muscaria gussowii. It's like a naked bulb, and there's going to be like a presence of vulva, like these flakes of material, but not in this species. But again, the classic Validae I'm talking about, classic section Validae. So yeah, this Amanita is sort of a little bit more unique in terms of the appearance of its basal bulb.
It was super squishy, which
Squishy, yes.
yeah,
Yeah, soft. Yeah.
yes, that was a surprise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice
So
job excavating it.
yeah, it's definitely one of the taxa in that species group. I mean, I cannot tell you what species it is, but if I were like on a Mo, I would just put a name, Amanita lavendula group, because that name is available, and that kind of encompass it all name. It just basically tells you that it's one of several species in a cluster, in a little subclade.
Right.
So I went to look just to see if by chance, given that you found this in Mississippi, I wasn't holding my breath. I was going to find it in Mycoquebec, and I did not. So,
Uh,
yeah.
And we can search for it. I wonder what the other names are. Thing is, if it's a provisional name by Rotalis, chances are it's not going to be in Mycoquebec.
Wonder if they have citrinum. I could look for that just to see. Let's try that.
I'm going to try lavendula, see what comes up. Let's see, search. Species name.
oh, mm-hmm.
No lavendula. No mappa. Yeah, they call it citrina, except that that name is completely wrong. It's wrong not because it's an incorrect species name; it's an illegitimate name. to my knowledge.
Mm.
So it's not even applicable to things in Europe. It's a dead name. That's what it is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're usually pretty good, I think, about trying to keep up with names, but obviously you can't keep up with everything all of the time.
I looked up some of the boletes and I got a bunch of things wrong too.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean they have European species in there which are not applicable to North America and so forth, and
Well, and they're using
misclassifications.
Gasawai, not Christ. Well, or is that what we're using?
Chrysoblema.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I noticed that, yeah, Mycoquebec was using Gasawai. So I'm like, I don't know.
And
But
Chrysoblema is not a name in Mycoquebec. So
yeah,
again, while I think Mycoquebec is a great tool and it's much better than uh, Mushroom Expert, I think in some regards they're complementary, because at least Mushroom Expert is going to give you something which is found in your neck of the woods, but maybe the name is arguable whether it's right or wrong. Mycoquebec is just not going to have it at all, or vice versa, something like that. So this is a Tricholoma colligatum.
okay, that's what I thought, tricholoma. But yep, I wasn't sure. Now that's not a it's not like a matsutake.
No, it's the poor man's matsutake. It's probably going to be bitter. So if
Oh,
you go
okay.
into Mycoquebec and search Tricholoma colligatum, and I don't know what colligatum means. Oh boy, what did I just do?
Is this a ring here?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
It's
And,
almost
and
it's almost like a universal veil in a sense, because it sort of starts.
you can see on the smallest one that there's a covering. It almost looks like a cortina,
Mm.
but I guess that leaves it,
It's
right?
a membranous veil, and it sort of stretches kind of to the lower or the middle stipe, giving an impression of something more like a universal veil. But it's a partial veil. Obviously, it's not a universal veil. So sometimes these collections are bitter. I don't know if you try to taste this one,
I
Hunter.
did not. No, they were abundant. I mean, there was a lot of them.
Yeah, we find them, and I can see here from the photograph that you found them in sandy soil,
Yes.
and that's where we find them in New Jersey in the Pine Barrens. I don't think we find them anywhere else in New Jersey. Only in the uh, outer coastal plain type habitat. Excuse me.
This
Hiccups.
this
Yeah.
was basically same thing, just in just up from the coast. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So there could be more than one species, that we don't know about. But if you ask me what this is, I would just say Caligatum or Caligatum group. And
Sounds good.
you have to refer to the Tricholoma opus by Mycoquebec, which is in
Okay.
French, but you can basically, it's a PDF. It's a very large PDF that you cannot. I mean, you can download it, but you cannot mail it to anyone. And you can basically copy and paste into the Google Translator, and it's going to
Excuse
give
me.
you a description. But yeah, you can look up in there and see how many species there are in this group, and it's a separate section in Tricholoma. So, and it's a very, very small section. I
Oh,
think
okay.
Matsutake might be either in that section or a neighboring section. I don't know. I forget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
we
And
in
these
certain years we find a lot of them. I think we found a lot of them last year. Not last year, but 23. I'm talking about 23. There were quite a few of these from different forays.
yeah, and another characteristic I believe is they have that kind of like tobacco staining look on the like the brown sort of staining on a little bit on the stipes that are tapered and um
Yeah, I mean
yeah.
that brown color is going to be present both in the cap and in the stipe, in the lower part of the stipe. Even the ring you can see is also kind of colored in the mature. Yeah, here, yeah, same color.
Yeah.
It's a readily recognizable mushroom. I think once you see it and you know what it is, then you'll never forget it.
Yes. Yeah. I'm starting to get these tricholomas a little bit. Which is
The
good.
notching here of the gills, that's,
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
I would say that's notching. That's a tricholoma thing.
Yeah.
The profile of the gill rises and then it collapses, sort of looks like it's a free gill, but it basically goes down and then connects to the stipe with a little bit of this, little thing, like I wouldn't even call it a tooth or whatever, but yeah, but the cap shape here is kind of umbonate, and it just gives you an impression as if these gills are free. But if you were to sort of orient the mushroom differently into that crack between the stipe and the gills, you'll see how they connect to to the stipe surface, and there's going to be a notch, which is typical for all tricholomas.
Okay. Good to know. So this was exciting, the Clathris on the left. And I is it Clathris ruber or is it another Clathris? I've never found it. I was so excited. It wasn't a very good specimen, but just a couple feet away was the Dicryopinax spathularia, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
And so I moved that over and took the picture together. But yeah, the sort and so I guess the Clathris is a stinkhorn, or related to them, because it came out of an egg like a stinkhorn and it smelled pretty bad. And I don't find most stinkhorns that bad smelling, but this smelled pretty bad. And it's not a great specimen and not a great picture, but it was really exciting to find.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I'm gonna keep my eyes open. Hopefully, maybe there'll be more
Are you
somewhere.
down there all week?
Yeah, we'll head back up Saturday. So,
Nice.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it is nice, and it snowed down here, but before we got here, and it's been nice, and it's gonna continue to be. So it's good.
Do you know, Hunter, if the folks down there from the Gulf Coast Club, if they foray into the winter?
I think they so I went to their winter foray the first week in December, and I think they take a break till probably like maybe February. Um, I'm a member of that club. I haven't seen any foray announcements coming up, so I think they're breaking right now, but I'm not positive. But I should be hearing if they are. So I haven't heard of anything going on. So,
Cool.
but they always do their annual foray, the first winter foray, the first weekend in December. It's like almost always then. So, and they'll be back down in Louisiana at the same place, this Feliciano retreat. And it's a large piece of property, mostly pine, mostly conifer, but there's a couple of water features on it, and it seemed pretty good. So yeah, you should consider going.
Yeah, I've got to go there. I'm not sure how you get there. Do you drive or you fly?
I drove. You could probably find a flight to Baton Rouge. I think that's the closest city to that site. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about flying. I mean, I could do that, but if I'm to travel there one way or another, I want to stay for just more than 3 days. Obviously, I've got to spend there at least a
Same.
week.
Same. Yeah, I
And
know. And
I
then
can
it's kind of
say
nice to
because
have your
it's
vehicle.
a long and tiring trip, and just going there for a short time is just it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and doing the mushroom stuff that we do, I mean, it's so much easier to have your vehicle and, you know,
Exactly. I
all
mean,
your collection boxes and all that, you know, it's, yeah,
yeah, I
packing
mean, you
it
can
all
rent
on
a
a
car, but
plane is, yeah.
a few years ago, when I was invited to go to there as a chief mycologist, which I obviously politely declined because, you know, I mean, I would just fall flat on my face and make a fool out of myself.
Oh, I'm sure you would not. No,
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, you know, I mean, Mahamanides and Boletes are pretty much the only two groups of mushrooms that I know fairly well. Everything else is sort of maybe to a genus, forget about the species. Like, if you were to show me these pictures and give me multiple choices, I would probably get the right, you know, name, genus, or species. But, you know, if you're, you know, to ask me, yeah, the Crinopinax I'll probably remember, and Clathris, but I haven't seen Clathris at all, you know, with my in the blood, so to speak. So I mean, I've seen pictures of it, so I think I know what it is.
yeah,
But yeah, so when I was considering actually going there and driving, you know, I knew I would have to stop somewhere in the middle, and I would get there in 2 days. So if I would leave, you know, on one day overnight and then travel the second day, and I'll get there sometime in the afternoon or whatever.
yeah. Well,
So,
if you make it to Illinois, you can stay in my Airbnb and we can drive down from there or um caravan or whatever. So
right.
yeah, keep it in mind. Come to
Yeah, I mean,
Illinois. That'd be a good spot, a good middle
yeah.
spot.
Distance wise, like I said, it's not a doable trip in one day. It was like, you know, 13 or 1400 miles. I mean, you cannot travel that long. So
Yeah, no, I
from New
know, I know.
Jersey to down to Louisiana. So yeah, I was like,
Yeah, it's a long way, especially if you're driving it by yourself. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, it
yeah,
was 12,
and like I
12
said, I
hours and 57 minutes from Illinois. So like just under 13 hours
Yeah.
to get to that retreat, that foray. So
yeah, and I have no experience driving to this part of the country, and you know, I'm pretty sure it's different from the Northeast. Um, So you know, it's a kind of a maybe a riskier trip overall, not just because of the length, but just because you are, like, you know, going into a different part of the country.
yeah, it's pretty user friendly though, the South. It's
Yeah,
I really like it. Yeah.
yeah. I remember a long time ago when I was kind of introduced to the South because I went to Virginia. You know, somebody who was local there told me about a Yankee trap. So basically, if
Mhm.
you're driving some kind of a flashy car with northern plates, you know, you would definitely get pulled over for just the minus thing. I mean, you could just, like, you know, drive ride a middle lane. I'm gonna pull you over just because of that. So
That's funny. I know I keep thinking that's gonna happen, but I kind of feel like it's the opposite, that just like so many places, they're like, well, you know, we want tourist dollars, we want people to come visit, spend money. So they kind of leave you alone, you know. But I don't know for sure.
yeah,
All
well, I
right.
mean, maybe things
So,
have changed. Let's just move on and see what else you
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
yeah, so Brandon is back watching. So you want to say what these things were again?
Sure. So, Clefus ruber, and not a great specimen, not a great photo, but the red pretzel shaped, I think related to stinkhorns. It came out of an egg,
Yeah.
and smelled terribly.
Okay.
And then I think we have Dacro Pinax, Dacro Pinax, the Pinax spathularia. But I'm not positive. So these we actually found yesterday, but I have had no chance to really confirm anything.
Okay. Somebody offline can type that in and see if that's anything that shows up in Mycoquebec. Yeah, I'm not positive what that is either. Brandon, you,
Saccharomyces, or what we're
To
looking at?
to Cryopinax spathularia is what I thought it was. I'm pretty
Interesting.
CROPI.
They do have it here as a species, but there's no photo.
okay. Yeah, and if you look on Google or whatever, it really matches that. But I don't know if that name's changed. I feel like somehow maybe it has. Um,
No, it hasn't changed. Apparently, that's the thing.
oh,
And
uh,
Um, so let me just type this in and see what Google Images look like. I'm pretty sure it's very distinct. Yeah, I think you got it right. Looks right.
It's funny because I see it as well, I see Dicryopanax spathularia, but I also see Dacromyces spathularia looking very similar. So just depending on the source online, but
I'm sorry. I see Brandon's comment. I'm over trying to learn about Mycena. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
I told you.
oh dear.
Oh dear, exactly.
Yeah.
Run for the hills.
Too funny.
So there's a couple of Neolecta. He thought maybe that was a Neolecta.
Oh.
First
But
glance.
but those, do they actually grow on the wood as opposed to ground?
Let's see what it says about irregularis.
Oh yeah, I don't think so.
Poor soil.
Yeah, this is definitely on wood.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really is what I said, but I mean,
All right. But yeah, I can see, this would be a good one to do a side-by-side comparison on if they had the other Dacropynex. Yeah, that looks something else altogether, that one. But, okay. So yeah, so now we have another tool here.
yeah, I love that.
And
Yeah, I can't wait.
yeah, I didn't mention it, but yes, mixos are in here. So slime molds. I think they even have lichens. Let's see, let me reset it here and let's look for, let me just, I don't know if lichen will work or not. Not really. So, but they do have the mixos. I gotta reset it. Yeah, here's. All right, I gotta do a different kind of a search to get into stemonitis and things probably.
Are you sharing your screen right now?
Oh,
Oh.
sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's okay. No, I was just wondering. I can't see it, but
Yeah, I went back in and was playing there for a minute. I didn't see anybody else saying they had anything to share. Do you
I
have any
thought
more?
I sent a couple more pictures. No.
Okay, let me go look and see.
Okay. I mean, and if other people have stuff, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, yep, you do. All right, let's keep going. I think this was the next one. I've seen these. I think.
We can't see them.
I gotta start sharing again, sorry.
Oh, yeah. So then these are from a couple weeks back, but still in like northern Mississippi. And I think that's where I found them. And I don't know what those are. It's not a great picture.
There's something funny I could share with you. Years ago, there was something going on the Mo, and somebody created like a fake name on Mushroom Observer, and they called it Albus Blobus or Blobus albus. Yeah, so white blob.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
Bulbous albus.
Kind of looks like pearl barley or something too, yeah. Yeah, I feel like I've seen that, but I cannot recall what the name is or a possible name. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Slime mold, do you think, or
Mm. I don't really think so, but I'm not well versed in slime molds at all, so maybe there are some that look like that.
okay?
Mm, here
Mm.
you go.
And this is
Um,
back to today. So
I'm gonna actually post something here in the chat, and that name that I told you about, that funny name, is still Mushroom Observer, and you'll find exactly a thing that looks like yours, Hunter, in there. So if you
Oh.
check out the link that I just sent,
okay.
and there's gonna be pictures of your mushroom
Yeah.
in there. Yeah.
Oh. Oh, that's it.
So that's a, obviously this is a name which it says non-prof, but this is a nonsensical name because it's like a joke. That's what it is.
So funny.
And Adolf is this old guy. I think he's Czech, and he has a quirky sense of humor sometimes.
A riot.
You might have heard of him. Aluna, his wife, passed away 2 years ago or a year ago, probably November 23. Yeah.
I see we have plenty of approved provisional names. Why is Globus albus any more wrong or inappropriate than any of the others? So funny.
All right.
So that thing over there looks exactly like yours, I think.
It's the same thing for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a riot. Okay, that's the working name.
Okay. All right. Are we back here? We got the Amanita.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is Amanita persicina, and because that's what they have down here. But yeah. So and there's quite a few out there, which is really nice about getting down here this time of year to be able to see colorful, large fruiting bodies.
Yeah.
Really exciting.
Yeah, that's what it is. I would call it that.
Yeah.
5 months or better before we start seeing stuff like that here.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is certainly a southern species, but we do have it here in New Jersey. It's like I mentioned that it's like the most northernmost limit of its distribution, pretty much. It's
And
not common, but we do find this occasionally. We know, like maybe I know of 2 spots where it grows in the Pine
Yeah.
Barrens, at least 2 spots. But yeah, in the south, it must be like very common, like Amanita chrysoblema here in the northeast.
Yes. Really common.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And
beautiful.
yeah, it is. And I didn't realize the veil remnants were quite yellow on this specimen. Um, which kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
those are the deposits on the of the veil on the bottom of the stipe. Kind of
Right.
weak ring structure intermixed with that kind of a yellowish or I'm not sure what color that is, tannish fuzziness. And the ring sometimes is present, sometimes it's completely gone. And here you have like remnants of what's left of the ring, what looks like it.
Yeah. And then the bulb is pretty plain, not much going on compared to like chrysoblema. It's less, at least in this specimen, it was much smoother than.
Yeah, the concentric rings of vulva present in Chrysoblema are sort of not well defined in this species, but there's something going on. It's not like a plain bulb you would see in some of the section Validae. Nothing left, just completely smooth surface. Yeah, you can see the velar remnants here kind of a trying to develop some kind of a ring structure there,
Mm-hmm.
concentric ring, yeah, but not very, very, very poor attempt at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one down here, I don't know. This looks like maybe this is just the partial veil here.
Could be, yeah. It's difficult to tell.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah, it is. Yeah, and genetically it is supported so that that species is absolutely 100% real.
All right. I think that was it. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, this was great. Good to see
Yeah.
somebody's getting out and finding some big fleshy fruit bodies, even if you have to go all the way to Missouri or Mississippi.
Exactly. This is
I know.
January, and you're still finding, summer-like mushrooms there.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Yeah, desperate times call for desperate measures.
How long does it take you to get to Mississippi from Illinois?
So it was just a little bit longer than the trip to that Louisiana foray. So this was like 13, 13 and a half hours,
So
basically.
whole day, pretty much, right?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, very long day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's and so once you get here you got to stay a little bit, so right. Yeah, but that's what I said to my friend today. I said, like, this is worth it to just see these colorful fruiting bodies in January, it's just
Right. So, I mean, I'm not trying to pry or anything like that, but you're just traveling there. You're like renting, facilities, so you have like a second house in Mississippi or something.
no, this is an Airbnb. We're just
Airbnb, okay.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a nice one. Yeah, I really like it. I can, recommend it to you if you just let me know if anyone is coming down. I'll let you know. Send you a link to this one. I think people would like it.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, email me. Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
All right. Looks like Penny left a minute or two ago. Ken or Brandon, any thing to share here last minute?
What about Doug? Did he take
Doug's,
off?
he's gone.
Okay.
Only 4 of us left.
Yeah,
Actually 5. Let's see.
5. Ken.
Yeah, Ken is there, right?
Yeah, Brandon is not muted, but he seems to be away because he's not responding.
Yep.
Okay. All right, well, I'm going to stop the recording.